Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 of this Photos Affinity photo retouch. And in part 1, we did cleanup, saturation fix, and dodge and burn. If you haven't watched that, please watch that so you can see how we went from before to after. And now what we're going to do is we're going to start tackling the hair, which I'm not a huge fan of doing hair because it's really difficult to kind of get it right, but I'm going to do my best to show you guys how I do it. So if you want to see how it's done, stay tuned. Alright guys, welcome back. So let's do the hair. Kind of avoided doing this for a while, but let's just do our best. So let's just go ahead and just jump right and get started, shall we? First I'm going to make a new layer. And I'm going to start with my in-painting brush because I love this thing. And I want to just first off get rid of all the little easy things that I can get rid of. Like things like this. So I know I can just come in here and the in-painting brush tool is not going to have any problem getting rid of these little like hairs that are out in the background. Like this whole patch we're going to have to deal with that separately. But like these little things here, like these will, I think the in-painting brush will do a pretty good job of getting rid of this. So let's just spend a little time to do that. I'm going to speed this up, and also I'm going to do the ones around here in the forehead too. So I'm going to speed this process up just using the in-painting brush tool, and then we'll come back when I'm done. All right, so hang in there. Alright, so as you can see, what I've done is just kind of clean up a lot of the little tiny little hairs. And, you know, like for some people this might be enough. It's like, I mean, this looks fine. To be honest, on the first time I edited this image months ago, I didn't even do the hair at all. I just kept it. I kind of liked the way it was like outside and kind of messy and kind of windy. But I think for this tutorial, I do want to try to really get the hair looking nice. So all I did is use the in-painting brush for everything, just to kind of go over and get rid of those little details, so our little stray hair. So now what we're going to do is we're going to switch to our clone stamp brush to kind of clean up some of the things. So for example, I think this actually is okay. Actually, yeah, it looks all right. Maybe you can see it gets a little bit messy around this area. And if we wanted to, we could come in here with a clone stamp tool, and just try to like kind of clean up some of these lines here. Let's actually do full hardness and low flow. And you can come in here and just kind of actually paint in streaks. Even if you have a small brush, you can pretty easily come in here and like basically like kind of create your own little hair streaks, things like that, just depends how much work you want to put into all this. I think that highlight there looks fine. Maybe this little part here I want to try to clean up. So what I might do is let's sample from right here, and let's see if we can just kind of, now we are going to have a repeating pattern, but we'll try to fix that a bit later. Maybe here to try to get rid of that like dark spot, and then maybe come in here with a really fine brush and do like that, and something like here. And with my fine brush, I'm kind of basically like almost creating new hair strands. So you can see what we did is just fix that. Now, of course, at this distance, it looks completely fine. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and keep that. Yeah, I thought, let's see, on my initial edit, yeah, I actually got rid of this part right here. But I think maybe, all right, let's just go ahead and go. I'll show you how to get it. It's basically the same thing. I'm going to basically take this sample here and gonna kind of try to figure out, make sure I'm kind of going in the same direction and just start clone stamping to kind of get that highlighted hair out a bit. And another thing, in case you did not know, you can rotate your brush. So let me see, if I sample from here, and let's just do 100% flow so you can see it. You can use the arrow keys to sample. Oh, sorry, rotate your clone. So this is really helpful when you want to. So I'm sampling from here. Say I'm sampling this way, and the hair is kind of going from this direction. Where here I want it to kind of go this direction. Well, I can sample it there, and then let's go ahead and drop the flow down. So then I can start painting it with it going a different direction to kind of match the direction of the hair a little bit. Yeah, and then you just got to make sure that you kind of bring it back, and just, it's a lot of, I'm constantly like sampling from a new area, and I'm doing this. Let's actually bring our flow up a little bit and just maybe make the brush small here, and it's gonna kind of give the impression of like hair strands. And then, you know, sometimes I might switch to the the in painting brush and kind of maybe grab a few little things that I think I missed. It's just like the cleanup step. It's just something that takes time, so I would suggest learning to enjoy the process. I do. It's kind of relaxing for me. I know it's hard and it takes time, but when I can do it and I can make it look really nice, it's just kind of a nice accomplishment. You know, it kind of feels good that you made something look really cool. Yeah, and maybe we can get rid of that highlight there, just something like so. And it looks like because this is so kind of blown out, it's actually not too sharp, which is actually working in our favor, because as we're doing this kind of low flow clone stamping, you know, things sometimes get a little soft and a little blurry. But because of, if we turn all this off, because the image is already kind of blown out and we can kind of see some like chromatic aberration and stuff here, and it's a bit blurry, that does work in our favor when we have to do things like that. Now you can actually see like how messy a lot of this is once we turn it off and on. So that's why it is good to like go back and forth and turn off and on, because you'll actually realize, okay, this is actually quite messy or quite janky. Things we got to kind of fix a bit. So yeah, I mean, just take your time, look at what you think looks a bit strange, try your best to kind of fix it, but at the same time, you know, don't spend like 2 hours trying to do something that no one's really going to notice. Because when we're looking at it like that, I mean, come on, you're not even going to notice that like it used to be like that. It looks fine. So someone is kind of looking at it from this distance and saying, okay, you know what, I actually want to maybe sample from this area to make this part of the hair look a bit darker like that. There we go. I like that. And maybe grab here and just grab this and just kind of, let's get rid of that part like so. All right, but yeah, I think like when you're looking at it there, you're like, okay, it looks cool. Maybe here it's a little bright, so let me just, I can bring this down a bit. Yeah, and I guess like the shadows are a bit blue because her hair actually looks kind of blue here. So maybe we'll go and refix the color. And we've got some weird things happening here. But all right, let's just say Dunzo was that, because I want to move on to the background part. You know, and if you really wanted to, you can come in here with a paintbrush, maybe grab just a color around here, get really small, maybe a flow, lowish flow, and let's see, and just start drawing in physical strands. You know, no one says you can't do that. Maybe grab a dark color and start doing in some strands of hair. Just kind of trying to keep them looking natural. And it's going to help kind of break up some of this. Like these kind of are coming at weird angles. So I don't like that. You know, maybe keep a low flow. And yeah, you can just do a little bit of things like that. Helps to break up some of this. Grab a different color. Maybe grab this brown over here. And yeah. So that's that first part done. And I think that looks pretty good. All right. Now all this stuff in the background. So the good thing about shooting with a low depth of field where we had the background really out of focus is it makes doing this next step pretty easy. And what I'm going to do is going to make a new layer. I'm going to go ahead and do a new layer. And I am going to get my clone stamp brush. We're going to do, I want to say like 10%. We're going to do a 0% hardness. And we're going to do a pretty big brush here. Let's zoom out a bit. And let's actually start over here. This is going to be easier. And I'm just going to sample like this tree area back here and just start doing this. Maybe grab from a different part and just start painting. Grab somewhere else. I'm just grabbing from different areas to kind of vary it, mix it up a bit. And you can just get right up to the hair. And you can go how far you want to go. Maybe grab here. You know, maybe grab something from over here and kind of like, you don't have to match the background perfectly. Maybe this little white spot, I'm going to go ahead and just make it all green. That's going to make it a lot easier for me to get rid of the hair. And we're just going to come in. And the good thing is if you accidentally go too far, that's okay, because we can just make a mask and paint that back in. So don't worry about trying to stay super like in the lines, because we can always mask things back in and out. And sometimes that's actually useful because we can do a big brush to really get it kind of like soft looking and really help the blend look a bit nicer, like I'm doing here. And then we can just, I'll just mask that stuff back in. So here we're going to look at, okay, maybe we're going to try to sample from around this area and just taking it slow, inching closer and closer to the edge of the hair, like so. Maybe do that, maybe sample from around here and just and maybe sample from that edge part wherever the green meets the blue, and like so. And then now that we have that, we can come over here and now we can kind of see, and we can come and get closer to here. And now if we want, we can actually start doing this. I'm now going to try to tighten up this edge here. Let's see, maybe, well, actually, tell you what, let's actually first using my in-painting brush to kind of get rid of these bright lines, these bright hairs here, like so. All right, and then we can come with our clone stamp and see if we can kind of just clean up the edge a bit. Maybe like so. All right, and there. And so you can see, oh, we went too far. Well, that's okay. We're going to make a mask. Select that mask. Let's grab a paintbrush, white paintbrush. Let's just actually go 100% everything. And sorry, not white. We're going to go black. Black is going to put back, and we can just come in here with a black. Maybe we can actually reduce the hardness a bit. And let's just paint back that hair back in. Of course, it's going to paint back in the part that I just got rid of, but that's okay. Well, maybe we'll get rid of that on a different layer. All right, so you can see that, oops, here. You can see that was pretty easy. I mean, obviously we increased the shape of the tree, and if we want to make sure, we can maybe grab some more of this dark stuff or the shadow part of this tree and just kind of introduce some more variation into it, you know. And maybe if we feel okay, it's a bit too much repeating pattern, yeah, play around with it. The thing is, like, we had no idea what the background looks like back there, so, you know, I mean, obviously we increase the size of the tree. If we want, we can come here and okay, well, I don't want it to be that big, so take some of this white, you know, and maybe bring it back up, make the little tree smaller, or whatever is back there, a shrub or a bush or whatever. And yeah, there you go. And so we're just going to do the same thing on this side. Of course, this side's a little trickier because we've got kind of blues and stuff happening. So let's just go ahead and start. Like, I don't even know what's back there. It's a building or something maybe, or a sign. So you can actually make the choice to say, well, I don't care, I'm going to get rid of it. I'll sample from something around here using the same technique. I got a big soft clone stamp brush, and I'm just going to just do that. And kind of like I said, don't worry if you go into her too much, like, or we paint into the hair too much, because we will just, actually, I can also clean up some of the edges over here. We can just paint that, sorry, mask that back in. So then we will be good to go. So I think it is actually easier to work with a bigger brush, and that allows you to get right up to the edge and kind of figure out, and not trying to stay within the lines too much. And then with our mask selected and back to our black paintbrush, then we can just come in here and the cool thing was working with masks is, like, you can kind of do a bit of back and forth. You can kind of go a bit over, how much do you want to reveal, switch to white to bring it back, get right up to the edge. And let's switch to back to our black, and let's just go really small. And with really even smaller than that, if we go really small with a low hardness, you can kind of like, let's just fake a few hairs. Actually, let's do a low flow then. And let's just like fake a few hairs. Like, because if it just cut off like that, it can look a little fake, like it just ended. But if we kind of, and this is really sloppy, but if we kind of like do something like this, we've kind of brought a few hairs back, and we're just painting them in with a really tiny brush. Now it kind of looks a little more natural, because we did have a few of these hairs brought back. So that's one of the little, and you can even kind of follow, I know those hairs gonna come out that way, I can kind of follow something like that. You can follow the actual hairs to kind of get the right kind of shape here, something like that. See, that little like technique looks really natural, you know. Do little things like that, and you know, you can come back to, okay, I went too far here, let's just like lower that, whatever you want to do. I'm actually going to keep that because they looked okay. So that's that back part, and that was actually pretty fast. And again, the background's a bit kind of like wonky, but the whole thing's out of focus, so no one has any idea what was back there, right? So, right, no biggie. Okay, so now let's just go ahead and make a new layer, because I want to get rid of this using my in-painting brush. It'll be pretty easy. If it looks a bit funny, yeah, sometimes it doesn't do great with big areas. Better to kind of like sometimes go small. And you can see the colors got a bit funny here, but just grab a paintbrush, grab a normal paintbrush, grab the color down here, and maybe find a good size, or even just get a big size and just kind of maybe really low flow, and let's just paint this. Maybe grab this color and let's even do a lower flow, and let's go a bit smaller, and let's turn the stabilizer on. Stabilizer is kind of nice because you can kind of be a bit like not so smooth, and it's gonna give you nice like shapes, so you can just kind of come in and like you go back and forth. Just start here and just paint happy little hairs. Just, you know, a few little happy little hairs here. You know, where are they going? They know what they're doing. They're just happy to be on this beautiful person's head. These happy little flowing hairs here. Lower the size down, and let's just do just like that. And I think that's gonna look pretty cool. And I think on my initial image I got rid of that little strand, but here I kind of like it, so I'm gonna keep this. I'm gonna keep that little strand there. I like the way that looks. There's a little dark line here I'm not liking, so I'm gonna come here with my clone brush and just like get rid of that. And that is, let's group all these bad boys together. We're gonna group that together. We're gonna call it hair. Bam, and that is boom, boom, hair. So again, I'm not gonna, because you could come up here and do this as well. I think I actually did make that smaller on the other one, but now that I look at it, I kind of like this one. I kind of like where these hairs are sticking out, because they would stick out normally. If I wanted to, I could just come in here with that first initial one, oops, and switch to my in painting brush and just like kind of, 'cause I think this will do a good job of just getting rid of these, and we could just get rid of these ones pretty easily. So let's just do that, and then we'll be done with the hair. And maybe switch to a clone stamp and just kind of like push up against the edge. Maybe kind of blend this together a bit nicer. Okay, like that. What do you think? You buying it? Do you buy it? I might buy it. I think it looks good. From there to there, that looks pretty fantastic. And so the technique that we use to do the hair, we can do the exact same thing with the background. Like for example, this big white pole is quite distracting. So why don't we just get rid of it? Make a new layer, not in that group, mind you. Make a new layer here. We'll call this background. And same thing, clone stamp, your new best friend, and just grab something around there, make a big nice soft brush, and let's just get rid of this annoying lamp post or whatever's back there, and this little red sign, it looks like too. We don't need that, do we? No, we don't need that at all. Just do that. And you do have some freedom to basically recreate. Looks like I caught the edge of the canvas there. Recreate stuff as you see fit. I'm just going to try to follow the lighting, so the dark part is down here. So I'm just going to follow and just do that. And again, we're going to mask this bad boy. So don't worry about painting onto her, because we'll just mask it out after we're done. And maybe this brighter part coming around here, something like that. And we've got a bit of kind of a repeating pattern action, so I'm going to come and just kind of sample from different areas and just like paint in little parts here and there to kind of break it up. Maybe we'll just come and do that, and a little bit of that. And it looks like this pole is either now behind the tree, or, and I guess if I wanted to, I could, let's just see what happens if I do a max hardness. No, that's gonna make things, let's do a medium hardness. Maybe they kind of bring back a little more like deep, there we go. Yeah, bring like a little more like sharpness detail into this. All right, that looks cool. And maybe here, if I want, let's just see if I can extend this. I guess it's a building in the background, just to kind of. Actually, we're just like painting out. I think there you go. Like, well, I don't know what that is. There we go. No, I don't like that. I'm gonna undo that. And my computer is going really slow right now. I think it's trying to record the screen and do all these crazy clone stamping computations, and so it's just taking its really sweet time doing that. But as you get the picture. Like, you can see what I did there. We can then go ahead and make a mask for that, and I still did not delete. It didn't get rid of that. Come on. I have a feeling it's gonna like back up like 10 steps back because I've hit undo a few times. But anyways, let's ignore that for now then. We got our mask, and we're gonna paint with a black brush. And we're gonna bring our hardness all the way up. Oh, sorry, our opacity all the way up. And then we're just going to turn our stabilizer off. We don't need that anymore. And just basically paint back in the parts that we went over, like so. Right up against the edge. I think that looks okay. Let's switch back to this clone stamp and maybe just kind of fix this dark part. Sorry, I'm painting on the mask. That's not what I want to do. I want to paint on the layer, not tight, paint on the layer, and just fix that. All right, cool. That looks good. And we can do the same thing over here. I'm gonna do this really quick because I want to move on. I'm just gonna sample from like right across the street and then just do something like that. And maybe just come back down here because I'm not at the bottom of the screen. And yeah, that kind of blends it in a bit better. If I want, I can come in here and like, oops, that was too much. And now my computer is going really slow as it's doing this. Like, it's not really enjoying this clone stamping process. It's a lot of computation, I guess, going on. But yeah, and let's go to a mask here. Let's switch to our mask paintbrush let's do a low flow this time, really low. And let's try to just kind of slowly bring some of this back, so it looks a bit natural. You know, we don't know what's back there, but that's fine. And actually here, I'm gonna get rid of that a little bit. I think that looks cool. And if we want, we can switch to that layer, grab a paintbrush, maybe grab one of the other colors and just kind of like paint in here to kind of mix it up a bit. Switch to our mask and black, and let's do full, and let's just paint in back where we went over. Switch to our other color. Oops. Nope, that is the wrong. Oh, sorry, I'm not painting with, actually painting with white. And yeah, let's just kind of get right up there. Okay, and you can see I kind of hit the edge here, but that's okay. I'm just gonna use a paintbrush and just clean it up. Cool. So that kind of cleans up the background. Black. There we go. All right, now we are back in business. So as you can see, background, bloop, bloop, helps, right? Makes a big difference. All right, and last part we're gonna do, if I have time, is we are gonna do a quick contouring, dodge and burn. So I've got a dodge and burn layer just like we did with our previous dodge and burn where we're fixing our skin, but this time we are going to be adding some cool contouring. So grabbing a paintbrush, we're going to grab a paintbrush with a white brush, 2% flow, and we're just going to add some nice highlights. So we're going to maybe add a bit of highlight here, add some highlights on our face, maybe brighten up the eyes a bit. Maybe put a little brightness on the forehead, chin, like so. we can put some brightness here on the top of the chest, and that's going to kind of give the impression of like a fuller chest area. And her wrist is already pretty good there. Switch to burn. I like to kind of go burn the hairline and burn down here at the jaw. That's going to basically kind of like give the impression of a smaller face. You can kind of see what it's doing there. Just that little bit kind of draws the attention more to center face. Let's actually now add some shadow underneath the chest. Together, that's going to kind of just give a bit more highlight. Maybe if I feel that that went too much, switch to a black brush, and let's just kind of reduce that a little bit. There we go. And then maybe same thing here. Maybe blend it in a bit better. I like to burn, well, she's already got pretty dark eyeshadow, so I'm cool with that. But I like to kind of burn just the eyeshadow part, make it a bit darker. It gives the eyes that kind of smoky, sultry look, which I think is going to be really fitting for her face and her makeup. So that's going to be really good. Looks like I forgot to do the eyes and the cleanup, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Grab my in-painting brush tool and just kind of get rid of these little, oops, I hit the wrong button. Get rid of these little veins in the eyes. Like, man, the in-painting brush is just a big lifesaver. I mean, it's a huge time saver. I don't have to sample or heal. Like, just having this one click and be kind of one and done is fantastic. So that's gonna basically just get rid of those lines there. And let's go ahead and group these contouring together. We'll say contouring, dodge and burn, and there you can see like we just added a little bit of like definition into her face. Yeah, maybe if I want to with the dodge, I can just kind of go over the whole face just like once, just to kind of brighten it up, brighten up the wrist a bit, brighten up the bottom part of her leg, brighten up down here and her neck, and do something like that. And what do you say, guys? You want to be done with it? Maybe? Yeah? All right, let's just go ahead and say done. So let's go ahead and look at our before and after. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to grab all these, including this one. This is before we started doing anything. And let's go step by step, actually. So first we did some cleanup, where we touched up the lipstick. We basically removed some little hairs on her leg and some little scratches and little nicks and blemishes on her face. Then we fixed the saturation, which is really subtle, but you can kind of see if you look at her forehead and her jaw or cheek, like these parts were a bit bluish and less saturated, so we just bumped the saturation there to really blend it in with the skin better. Then we used dodge and burn to really even out the skin. Then we just, as you saw, we did our hair, which that came out looking pretty good, I think. Then we clean up the background so it's a bit more even. And then, that's the old one. And then we did some contouring, dodge and burn, brighten the whole image. And we are done. Thanks a lot, guys, for watching this whole thing. Before and after. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you kind of picked up a few tips, tricks, techniques along the way. I always appreciate you guys leaving comments and even watching my videos down to the end. So thanks a lot. And I guess I will see you guys in the next video. If you have any questions about how I did something or why I did something, please let me know in the comments. I will answer to everybody's comment. So I hope to see you guys again soon. Thanks for watching. Later.